Living by the ocean, but I'm miles away from myself or anything I recognize. Cheap thrills, but I don't feel nothing, just a numb refrain. But I know it's darkest before the sunrise. I was running out of time then to feel anything at all. I was close to giving up when you held me in your arms. With you I feel the power of the Holy Ghost. Oh, you're giving me the feeling that I'm ready for the healing. I never felt the Spirit till I held you close. Oh, I think you are the reason. You are something to believe in. Late nights I'm using just a cup with it and pass the time. I wash it down, but nothing seems to clear the air. Do you believe that people get sent to you on your shipwrecked island to help you find whatever you had lost somewhere? I was running out of time then to feel anything at all. With you I feel the power of the Holy Ghost. Oh, you're giving me the feeling that I'm ready for the healing. I never felt the Spirit till I held you close. Oh, I think you are the reason. You are something to believe in. And every single time I fall, drown me in your holy water. Take me to the pearly gates now. And every single time I lie, it's like you always knew me better, better than I knew myself now. With you I feel the power of the Holy Ghost. Oh, you're giving me the feeling that I'm ready for the healing. Till I held you close. Oh, I think you are the reason. You are something to believe in. With you I feel the power of the Holy Ghost. Oh, you're giving me the feeling that I'm ready for the healing.
Ain't nobody stopping. Ain't nobody stopping.
And we are live. How is everybody doing tonight? Sunday, March 12th, 8:08 p.m. in the Central Standard Time. And I am RJ Shine, and I'm joined by Jason Laufenberg, and we are on the Awake Souls YouTube channel. How you doing tonight, brother?
Good evening, brother. Yeah. Excited. Sunday night, you've got a presentation ready for us, and we didn't have much prepared, so I'm looking forward to this tonight.
Yeah, I definitely did prepare. I've prepared. And sort of it's a good thing because, you know, I want to say that it's a do-over. I got all worked up when I was in a band back in high school. I had the drummer when I would have like a solo as a bass player. I would go too quick, and the drummer would then bring me back by slowing me down. And sometimes live, I don't have that drummer with me. So on Friday, I tried to deliver some of this information. And I'm just thankful that we're here tonight. And I've got an opportunity to deliver it again. But this time, I'm going to try to just take my time. So is there anything that you wanted to talk about?
I would just say I was a drummer, so maybe I can help, right?
Of course, if there's anyone in this realm that can help me, it is you, brother. Thank you for showing up tonight. Thank you for everyone in the chat that shows up. If you get something from this podcast, if you know anybody looking for, to learn the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, send them a link. That's how we do it around here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, couple things. So we passed the 311 without any big news other than possibly a banking collapse, but this whole 322 date is looking more and more promising for something big to happen, because if you take a look at when Pluto, so this is a wandering star that you can't actually see with your eyes, but they say it's going into Aquarius on 322. And it's supposed to go in for a little bit, and then it's supposed to come back out on June 11th. So that 6/11 is a day that's been associated with Trump for a long time. So the summer of 2023 still looks promising for something to kick off a great tribulation. So paying attention to that. Trying to think if there's anything else.
Well, I mean, it's the summer of what could very well be 5993, right? Leading us into the final Shemitah of the 120 Jubilees. Correct?
Absolutely.
But yeah, go ahead.
And that the video that I'm working on that has to do with the calendar, I'm hoping to have that done before the spring equinox, because it's got a whole lot of information about the spring equinox in it. And it sure would be nice to have it done before then.
I'm looking forward to your new video. It's really great. I think you're doing an excellent job with it. People are going to love it. It makes the sky simple, right? For you to understand. It's one of the final keys that we need to unlock everything, in my opinion. So I'm really looking forward to that. You got till the 21st, right? Or April 21st, right?
The 20th is when
March 20th.
The sun's going to start rising on the north side of equatorial sundial. So
yeah.
I'm trying to have the video done before then.
Yeah, you've got this. Are you kidding? You got this, bro. You're all over it. You're halfway there with the graphics. I can't wait for people to see you've stepped up the graphic work. You're incorporating some new 3-dimensional motions and parallaxes. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm really, really thankful too that just before we went to start podcasting, our neighbors were actually outside with a lawnmower with a light on it, cutting the grass, and they just stopped. And I'm thankful, because this is a very important topic tonight for me. Understanding the parabolic language to the mysteries to the kingdom of heaven has got to be one of the greatest things that I've ever tried to learn in my 42 years of life here. And I feel that it's time that we continue to look at this. So I guess without further ado, I'll get into the content, brother, unless you have any other things that you want to add before we get into it.
No, looking forward to it.
Yeah. So what we have on the screen right now is the parable of the sower. So this is, let me just turn up the background music a little bit. It should duck out when I talk. So the parable of the sower, right? Maybe that's a bit loud. I can't tell on the other end. Maybe someone could give us a 5x5 in the chat as to how the sound is if the music's too loud. So the parable of the sower we went over last week, right? And what it basically outlined, this is definitely probably too loud. At least it is for me. I don't know about you guys. I definitely like the song, but I don't want it to be overbearing. So the parable of the sower, what we got into last week, we'll just start off with this real quick, and it states, it goes like this. It says, "Behold, the sower went forth to sow, and as he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and it was trodden underfoot, and the birds came and devoured them. And others fell upon rocky places, where they had not much earth, and straightway they sprang up, but because they had no depthness of earth, and when the sun was risen, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And others fell upon thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them, and they yielded no fruit. And others fell upon the ground, the good ground, and yielded fruit, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He that hath ears, let him hear." And then we get Christ now going on to explain the parable. He says, "Hear ye then the parable of the sower." He said, the seed is the word. So one of the parabolic keys that we got from the first parable, the parable of the sower, sounds a bit loud. I did turn it down. It should be a little better now. So we understand that the seed is the word. Okay, so the sower is going throughout the realm. Well, he's starting on the road, and he's walking through the ditch, and he's headed towards good ground, or the field, where the fertile soil is, so that it can 100-fold, 60, and 30-fold. So what we learned from this parable is that the seed is the word, right? The truth of the kingdom of heaven has been sown throughout time, and the different kinds of grounds are referred to as he that, right? Or mankind. We are the three different dispensations of people, right? So the he that was a reference to the ground, right? It says here, and also worth mentioning, in his explanation, Christ refers to the various patches of ground as he that, or in other words, the different types of ground represent different kinds of people. So we have to see that the order of the soils is also important, because it's also giving us a time reference. So we have the first dispensation, that of the Father, right, of the Old Testament, right, with the law given through Moses, leading back to Enoch, to Adam. And then we had Christ, which was the New Testament, the second dispensation. And now what we're in is the third, which is the revelation of all things inspired, which is the Holy Spirit that Christ was pointing forwards to, that the Holy Spirit would then come and point back everything. And what we're able to do now is open up the apocrypha, the parabolic language in these old scriptures, and completely understand everything that's going on in the earth right now. You're going to see as we go through these tonight that it absolutely matches and aligns with everything that we would expect, right? So, Jason, is it clear? Can everybody see? How are you? Are you with me?
Everything's good. I'm just going to continue to encourage you to just slow it down a little bit.
Still speeding, huh? Got to take my time. I'm sorry. Thank you. Please.
Yep.
Yeah, keep me on top of that. So the parable, right, was the word being sown through time, through three different dispensations of people. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought I was muted.
Oh, that's okay. Through three different dispensations of people, right? And so now we're in the third dispensation, and the sower went out and sowed, and what he sowed was the word. He placed the scriptures throughout time. He spoke them through parabolic languages. So let's get into the second parable that Christ wants to explain, that he did. It's the parable of the tares. Now this one's very important because it's going to unlock, right, everything that's wrong with the realm right now, why we got here, and where we're headed. So let's take a look again. This is a compilation of Robert Farrell's work from Apocryphile 1970, and I've been learning and going through this with him for about 15 years. He's been doing it for a long time, I think since before 2000. But so here, let's jump into the parable of the tares. It says, another parable that Christ expounds upon is the parable of the tares. Unless one is familiar with the apocryphal book of Enoch, the meaning of this similitude will be obscure. But to one that is familiar with this ancient text, the meaning is unmistakable, right? It says here, in this one Christ says, okay, we're getting to another parable, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man that sowed good seed now in his field. So now we're on the field, right? We still have the sower, which is the word, and we know that the different types of grounds represent the different dispensations. So the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man who sowed good seed in his field. But it says here, that but word, nothing good ever follows when someone says but. Have you heard that before? But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went away, right? But when the blade sprang up and brought forth fruit, then the tares also appeared. And the servants of the household came and said unto him, Sir, didst thou not sow good seed in thy field? Whence hath the tares? And he said unto them, An enemy hath done this. And the servants said unto him, Wilt thou then we should go and gather them up? But he said, No, lest happily while you're gathering them up, you root up the wheat with them. But he said, No, let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, Gather up first the tares, and bind them in bundles. Or no, gather up first the tares. I skipped a line there. Definitely don't want to bundle up the tares. First, I will say unto them, to the reapers, Gather up first the tares, and bind them into bundles to burn them. But gather the wheat into my barn first. Okay, so now we're getting angels or reapers being instructed to gather up the tares first, right? This is where I stumbled, because this is a key to understanding this. So most modern day Christianity, they're all under this illusion or delusion that they're going to be raptured. That's what they talk about. We cover it constantly. Okay. The only thing that looks like it's getting raptured here in this parable is the tares. Are you with me, Jay?
Yeah, well, not necessarily a rapture, but they do get gathered up to, they're going to be thrown into the fire. They're not being gathered into the storehouse, into the barn. They're not being taken up to heaven and sitting at the party table. Yeah.
It's correct. It's correct. So what Christ was saying was that he was going to, at the end of time, tell the messengers and the angels to gather up first the tares, bind them into bundles to be burnt, but then go and gather my wheat into my barn, he says. And then Christ goes on to explain this parable to his disciples. Let's go into this a little bit slower. He says, he that soweth the good seed, oh what? Now we're getting the explanation of who the sower is. That sower is the Son of Man. So the Son of Man, down through time, has sown the seed, right? And the field is the earth, the world, the realm, right? So, sorry, ball earthers, we're not likening the earth unto the moon, right? We're not saying it looks like a circle, it looks like a field. And the good seed are the sons of the kingdom. Okay, so there's good seeds and bad seeds. The good seeds are the sons of the kingdom, and the tares are the sons of the evil one. So now we're getting an explanation as to what the tares are. Now, many people understand the parable, so wheat and tares, they look the same. But when fruit comes, right, the tares bow down, whereas the wheat bows down and the tare stands up straight. So it's easy to decipher when the fruit bears, when you're able to bear the fruits of the word down through time. It's easy to see who's who. Is what the
tares are proud and keep their heads up, right?
Yes, that's correct. Right. So he that soweth the good seed, is the Son of Man. So now we know that the sower from the parable of the sower is the Son of Man, and the good seed are the sons of the kingdom, and the tares are the sons of the evil one. And the enemy that sowed them is the devil, or better known as Azazel. We're going to get into that further on. And the harvest is the end of the world, it says. And the reapers are the angels, and therefore the tares are gathered up and burned with fire. I'll move this up a bit. So shall it be at the end of the realm, or the end of the age. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all the things that cause stumbling, and them that do iniquity, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. It says here, there shall be great weeping and gnashing of the teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth, it says here, as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He that hath ears, let him hear. So it's a pretty good understanding of what we're expecting to see here is righteousness becoming a shining light throughout the earth, proclaiming the kingdom of their Father, right? And some weeping and gnashing is going to be taking place by all these evil, wicked descendants of the fallen angels, right? This is what we're getting from apocrypha. This is scriptures that they thought, this doesn't hold up in the wind. The people that had it on the rocky ground, they weren't able to hold on to these scriptures, right? Because it had to be lost down through time so that we could have an age of darkness, the night, where people didn't understand this. But now we're getting it all back. I'll continue on. So it's important here to bear in mind that here is the fact that the devil is identified as the father, right? So Azazel, or the devil, is identified as the father of certain people who coexist here with Yahawah's people until the end of the age. So we've got two groups of people. We've got wheat and tares, right? We've got descendants of the fallen angels and their father, which there is Azazel.
Lowercase father there, right?
Yeah, lowercase father. Good that you pointed that out, right? So there is only one other place in the canonical scriptures where the story is told in more detail. So what we get is Moses. Hey, how you doing, Moses? Moses wrote the account of Genesis while he was atop Mount Sinai with the Father, right? Right. That's when he was instructed and given the tablets and taught all this. And Moses wrote, and it came to pass when man began to multiply upon the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of Yahawah, or you could call them the fallen angels, and let's see Jude 6. Let's go there. Let's see what it says here. Jude 6, it says, although you are fully aware of this, I want to remind you that after Christ had delivered his people out of the land of Egypt, or this actually is an excellent spot for us to see this. This word is Joshua. Everybody knows from the book of Joshua, And he was the one that delivered the people into the promised land, not Moses. Moses didn't get to go in. But don't worry, we'll all know more in the end. But here, continuing on, to remind you that after Joshua, or YHWH, had delivered his people out of the land of Egypt, he destroyed those who did not believe, and the angels who did not stay within their own domain, but abandoned their proper dwelling. So here we have Jude reciting and going back to the book of Enoch. We just started with Moses quoting Enoch. First it was Moses. Now we have Jude. This is the New Testament, the second dispensation. Jude is still proclaiming, and the angels who did not stay within their own domain, but abandoned their proper dwelling, right? These he has kept in eternal chains under darkness, bound for judgment on that great day. And then it's likened unto Sodom and Gomorrah and the punishment of eternal hellfire. So let's get back. We wanted to do that quick. See Jude 6 reference, right? Because it helps us get more context. Line upon line, scripture upon scripture. And it says that the sons of Yahawah saw the daughters of men, that they were fair. And they took them wives of all that which they chose. And they were giants in the earth in those days. And also after that, when the sons of Yahawah came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children unto them, and the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. Right? So we're getting the Jude reference as well as the Moses, right? So, and we know Christ was constantly referencing the book of Enoch. So we'll continue on here. We thus have at least two data here about the offspring of the fallen angels. They were the quote-unquote giants, and they were also called mighty men of renown. We may thus infer from this that the word giant is a code word or a parabolic key for powerful men or men of renown. In other words, those men who strive for power and renown in this world are the spiritual offspring of Azazel or the devil. Does everyone understand? So we have people like Klaus Schwab, Yuval Harari, all these people, all these men, Bill Gates, all these guys, Tony Fauci. These are the descendants of the fallen angels. All of them. The Rockefeller family, the Rothschilds, the Pope, all of them. Elon Musk, any men that is trying to gain riches and wealth and to be known as the conqueror and this great powerful Trump, and all these people are actually the offspring of the devil. And it continues on. After all, if they were physically, so we're now going to talk about their actual size. If they were physically gigantic, right, how could they be mistaken for the sons of the kingdom, right? Moreover, the entire principle behind the analogy of the tares being indistinguishable from the wheat would not make any sense if these were really giants, right? These are not giants anymore, people. These are descendants of the fallen angels. And they interbreed through their families. They've kept it within their own bloodlines, and then they do satanic rituals, right? Spells and incantations that the fallen angels taught mankind. They do those things to bring those continuation of the reincarnation of these evil, wicked spirits, the Nephilim, the children of the fallen angels. That's where we are, and that's what's going on here. So I'm going to continue. It says the book of Enoch, which was widely read by early Christians, widely attested to in other apocryphal books as well, and even quoted in scripture in Jude 14 and 15, contains this story in all of its detail. We're going to get into that after the next break. But in fact, in addition to fathering their children, these angels also taught these women numerous wicked things, which we're going to get into, but I'll touch on them here with Robert's words. Chapter 7 of Enoch tells us that these angels were the first to teach about magical medicine and incantations. And in chapter 8, we are told that they are also taught them how to make knives, swords, and breastplates. These angels also taught them about jewelry and ornamentation and cosmetics. Other evil practices included astrology, the smashing or smiting of the embryo in the womb, and even the mystery of writing. This is something that I generally like to bring up because I know that I wasn't created to read and write the way that they make me here. I constantly have to stumble. But it says here, for human beings are not created for such purposes, to take up their beliefs with pen and ink. For indeed, human beings were created but to be like angels, permanently to maintain pure and righteous lives. Death, yes, which destroys everything, would not have touched them had it not been through their knowledge, right, by which they shall perish. Death is now eating us by means of this power. Absolutely true. It's still very, very true. Lust and sin and all this wickedness is still what traps us. It says here, in other words, all the strife and warfare and wickedness and idolatry on this earth is being carried out by people who have an inclination, right, to follow voices of Azazels or adversaries or the devils. These angels have conspired amongst themselves to carry out great wickedness on the earth, as we're all witnessing here right now. Everybody's paying attention. You all see what's taking place. Their children, yep, all these people live in luxury and they're powerful. Not to mention they have eminence and respect. These are our mighty men of today, right? Those who cause stumbling and do iniquity. They are without conscience and are busily at work destroying mankind and the earth. Right? So we continue on here in chapter 7 in Enoch. It states, we are going to go to Enoch after this. It says here, we have an account of how these giants afflicted men and destroyed the earth. It says here, these giants, so these were the descendants of the fallen angels, right? Moses brought up that the sons of Yahawashai, the angels, saw the women that were starting to be born, and they lusted after them, and they decided to come here and wickedly perverse the realm, right? That's why the flood happened. But it says here, so when the fallen angels came and had children, their children were these men of renown. They were egotistical, and they wanted to build a tower to the heavens. All these things here. It says these giants consumed the produce of all the people until the people detested feeding them. They were like, we can't do this anymore. So the giants turned against the people in order to eat, and then they wanted to eat them, right? And they began to sin against birds, beasts, reptiles, fish, and their flesh was devoured the one by the other. So they started eating each other, and they were drinking the blood, right? And then the earth brought forth an accusation against these oppressors, right? And the modern counterpart to these giants, the bad seed, who we're discussing tonight, the descendants of the fallen angels, operate in the very same exact ways. The rich, as everybody can see, you're only allowed to live within your 15-minute city now, while these rich people are allowed to fly all around the realm in yachts and private planes and Epstein Islands. They possess the land. They got all the money. They print the money, right? They make the scams up. They create the Bitcoin. They dump this. They move that. So vast. They've got so much power now. The small elite, the tiny 0.00001%, that there's always exists, there's this underclass and poor people, and put into the position, yes, they all have to serve. We're in a position of servitude. Men actually worship their chains now. They say we live in the land of the free and the home of the brave, when it's really the land of the slave, right? So then when these people are no longer needed, or in other people in other places will work for less, like China or wherever the New World Order decides to outsource Mexico, they've moved it to a bunch of places, these people will be replaced. That's what they're trying to do right now. They're trying to depopulate. The book, The Great Reset, from Klaus Schwab, indicated that they were going to depopulate Canada, the United States, the UK, all basically it was an attack against the so-called white nations. They're actually trying to replace these people now because they're not subservient enough, right? The part about sinning against the birds and the reptiles and the beasts has to do with environmental consequences. Obviously, the pollutants, all these train derailments, everything that they're doing is just it's just going against creation, right? Even today, many are concerned that the earth is laying accusation against us by becoming less habitable. So we've seen these rivers, the earthquakes taking place. It's just going to continue to ramp up and up and up and up. But so the interesting thing that we get here, we're going to go into this further. We're going to do a song break, then we're going to get into this further. So what we understand is the parable of the tares, right? So you have the good seed, which the Son of Man sowed, right? Becomes the sons of the kingdom. And you have the bad seed, which Azazel sowed, the fallen angels' descendants, which is the tares. And we know that at the end of the age, what it looks like we're at, right? The tares are going to be bound up, and they're going to get prepared to be burned. And the sons of righteousness are going to be stored away in a barn, it says. Maybe in Jerusalem or something. We don't know how that's going to work. But Jason, do you have anything to comment? We're going to take a break after this, and then we're going to get into a little bit more into the book of Enoch.
No, that's good.
You ready? Okay, let's go. I'll see you guys after this break.
sing your praise, lift them high, live my life, mesmerized. I can go outside.
That one was Petite Noir with Finding Paradise. What a beautiful song. And the first one was called Holy Ghost. Like I said, I'll put all the links to the music in the comment section below after the video, after the podcast. Are you with us, Jason?
Absolutely.
Is everybody with us in the chat? How are you guys all doing tonight? Thank you for tuning in. Who is ready to learn about the rebels that were among the watchers that fell from heaven? Right? What do you know? What do you know about this, Jay? You know a little bit, right? So, coming out of the book of Enoch, we're going to start with Logan 6:1. Rebels among the watchers is the header here. It says here, I got to just check something so I can make sure I got everything centered. It says here, and it came to pass, when the sons of men had increased, that in those days there were born to them fair and beautiful daughters. And the angels, the sons of heaven, saw them and desired them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose for ourselves wives from the children of men, and let us beget for ourselves children. I mean, I can completely understand how the angels could lust after a woman. Like, I'm sure you can as well, Jason. I think we can both attest that it's very easy to have that feeling. But
it's a natural desire when you're a man.
I mean, Yahawah is the creator of all things beautiful, right? So what we have to differentiate between here is beings that were created in heaven. They were eternal beings. They weren't created to procreate, right? So they were actually workers that were helping create this reality. Okay, they were workers. They were in order in a group of angels that were working for Yahawah, helping create this realm for the mankind, for us, right? They were working for us. They were representatives for mankind. So here we get they seen this group of the sons of Yahawah, the sons of heaven. They saw, and then they said, let us go down and let's get ourselves some of these beautiful women and have our own kids, right? And it says, and Semyaza, who was their leader at that time, said unto them, I fear that you may not wish to do this deed to be done, that I alone will pay the price for this great sin. And they all answered him and said, let us all swear an oath and bind one another with curses, so not to alter this plan, but to carry it out with effectively. right? So they all swore an oath that they were going to do it. They were going to do it correct, right? Then they all swore together and all bound one another with curses to it. And there were, 200, and they came down on Aradas, which is the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called the mountain Hermon because on it they swore and bound one another with curses. And these are their names of their leaders. So there's the 20 leaders over the 200. You get Semyaza, right, who was their leader at the time. Rakeba. You got Remael, Kokibiel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Daniel, Ezekiel, Barakiel, Asael, Amoros, Ananiel, Zakael, Samsael, Satael, Turiel, Yamiel, and Azrael. So these are the names of the leaders. And these are the leaders of the 200 angels and of the others that fell with them. So they're stating that there might be more here. And it says here, and they took wives for themselves, and everyone chose for himself one each. And they began to go in unto them and do promiscuous things, and taught them charms and spells, and they showed them the cutting of roots and trees. So we know ayahuasca. We've got like Aaron Rodgers, who is it, Prince William or Harry, is coming out saying that psychedelics is the way. You're not doing anything if you're not doing psychedelics. So we see right here, this was one of the first things that the fallen angels started to teach their children and their wives, their progeny, or whatever, however you want to name it, their kin, how to get high, how to do this ayahuasca stuff. And they became pregnant and bore large giants, so they ended up having larger children. These were the Nephilim. And their height was 3,000 cubits, it says. And they devoured all the toil of men, so men worked hard to feed these giants, and men were unable to do it anymore, right? So, and the giants turned against them in order to devour those men. And they began to sin against the birds and the animals, and against the reptiles and against the fish. We heard this before. And they devoured one another's own flesh and drank their blood from it. So you can see the abominations that these Nephilim are starting to do here. And the earth complained about the lawless ones. Everything cried out, the birds, the stones, the water, everything, just like it is today. And now we're having Azazel being brought in, and Azazel taught men to make swords and daggers and shields and breastplates. And he showed them the things after these, and the art of making bracelets, ornaments, and the art of making up on the eyes, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and the most precious of stones, and all kinds of colored dyes. And then the world, it says here, was changed. And there was great impiety and much fornication, and they went astray, and all their ways became corrupt. This is what happened before the flood. You get a lot of people that don't really want to come and fully get to understand exactly why it happened. They just want to blame Yahawah and say he's a bad man, right? What a bad creator that is. They all claim, I could do it better, right? So it says here, Amazarak taught all those who cast spells, and also to cut roots, Amorarios, some of the names are a bit hard, the release of spells, Barakiel, astrology, and Kokiabel, portents. So this word here, portents, is actually about prophesying, right? He taught them how to, prophesy and to do these types of witchcraft things. And Tamiel taught astrology, and Azrael taught the path of the moon, right? So they were learning some things, right? They were learning a lot of things. Everything that these fallen angels knew, they were trying to teach to their kids to game the simulation. And at the destruction of men, they cried out, and their voices reached up to heaven. So this is when it started to take a little bit of a turn for the fallen angels. And then Michael, Gabriel, Suriel, and Uriel looked down from heaven and saw the mass of blood that was being shed on the earth, and all the iniquity that was being done on the earth. And they said to one another, let the devastated earth cry out with the sound of their cries up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, O holy ones of heaven, the souls of men complain, saying, bring our complaint before the Most High. And they said to their Lord and King, Lord of lords, and Yahawah of Yahawahas, Elohim of Elohim, King of kings, your glorious throne endures for all generations, the world, and be blessed and praised. You have made everything, and power over everything is yours. And everything is uncovered and open in front of you, and you see everything, and there is nothing that can be hidden from you. See then what Azazel has done, how he has taught all iniquity on the earth and revealed to the eternal secrets that are made in heaven. And Semyaza has made known spells, he to whom you gave authority to rule over these who are with him. And they went into the daughters of men together, lay with those women became unclean and revealed to them these sins. And the woman then bore giants, and thereby the whole earth has become filled with the blood of iniquity. And now behold, the souls which have died cry out and complain unto the gates of heaven, and their lament has ascended, and they cannot go in the face of the iniquity which is being committed upon the earth. And you know everything before it happens, and you know this, and what concerns each of them. But you say nothing unto us. What ought we do then about this? So this is Michael, the general and the captain of the heavenly army, before Yahawah, bringing forth these claims, saying, look what's going on, right? And it says here, the Most High of the Watchers speaks out. Enoch presents us with a condemnation of the runaways by the Most High of the Watchers, right? The second section actually shows how the runaways are regarded at home. Some background details do emerge later in the book, right? These are just some extra notes. So Enoch was probably taught to write, and he wrote and was studying with the fallen angels, right? So we'll just keep going on down here a little bit more. The Most High of the Watchers speaks out. And then the Most High, the great and holy one, spoke and sent Ashariah, the son of Lamech, and said unto him, say to him in my name, hide yourself, and reveal to him the end which is coming, because the whole earth will be destroyed. A deluge is about to come upon the earth, and all that is in it will be destroyed. And now teach him, so that he may escape, and his offspring may survive the whole earth. And further, the Lord said unto Raphael, bind Azazel by his hands and his feet, and throw him into darkness, and split open the desert which is in Dudael, and throw him in there. And throw him on jagged tops of stones and sharp coverings, to put him under darkness, and let him stay there forever, and cover his face so that he may not see the light. And so that on that great day of judgment, he may be hurled into the fire. Right? You see that? And restore the earth which the angels have ruined, and announce the restoration of the earth. For I shall restore the earth, so that not all the sons of men shall be destroyed, because of the knowledge which the watchers made known and taught to their sons. So there was a quality about Noah that was so redeeming that he was allowed to live. Him and 7 other characters, the 8, that founded the city of 8 once they landed on, was it Aradat? What was the name of that mountain? But continue on here, it says, and the whole earth has been ruined by the teaching of the works of Azazel, and against him write all sin. Right? You guys can see that here. Azazel ended up becoming the leader when Semyaza was the one who was given the power, but Azazel ended up taking over. And the Lord, now we get another angel, not Michael, Gabriel. And the Lord said unto Gabriel, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the sons of the fornicators, and destroy the sons of the fornicators and the sons of the watchers from amongst men, and send them out, and send them against one another. Here, look, this is what awaits anybody that tries to go against the truth and the freedom of what's coming. You are literally going to be eaten by your own kind. You are going to be pit against yourself. And it says here, and let them destroy themselves in battle, right? For they will not have the length of days. And they will petition you, but the petitioners will gain nothing. Right? Respect for them, for they hope for eternal life, and that each of them will live life for 500 years. What's this about? And it says, and the Lord said unto Michael, now go inform Semyaza and the others with him who have associated with the woman to corrupt themselves with them in all their uncleanness. And when all their sons kill each other, and when they see the destruction of their loved ones, bind them for 70 generations. This is quite interesting. This line right here. Bind them. Are you there, Jay? Bind them for 70 generations. Right?
I'm here.
What do you think that means?
Keep them from being able to reincarnate. Would be my hunch.
Pardon? What did you say? To have them reincarnate?
I said to keep them from being able to.
I mean, well, it seems like they're being bound for 70 generations, so I don't know if that could divide out into 120 jubilees or if it's the 120 plus 1,000, but this is still up for debate. So I'll continue on, but I will get to something like what you had suggested later, just not in the way you think I might. So it says here, under the hills of the earth, put these ones, right? They're going to be bound here under the earth until the day of their judgment and of their consummation, until the judgment, which is for all eternity, is accomplished. These are pretty strict, straightforward words here. And in those days, they will lead them to the abyss of fire. In torment and in prison, they will be shut up for all of eternity. So that's where the fallen angels and their descendants are going, right? And then Semyaza will be burnt. And from then on, destroyed with them. Together they will be bound until the end of all generations. It says here, and destroy all the souls of lust, right? And all the sons of the watchers, for they have wronged man. Destroy all the wrong from the face of the earth, and in every evil work will cease. And now all the righteous will be humble and will live until they beget thousands. Look at this. So anybody that doesn't understand, the kingdom is going to be repopulated, right? By the righteous. And it says here, and all the days of their youth and their Sabbaths they will fulfill in peace. This is a great proclamation. And in those days the whole earth will be tilled in righteousness, and all of it will be planted with trees, and in it will be filled with blessings, right? And all the pleasant trees they will plant on it, will plant on it in vines, and the vine that is planted on it will produce fruit in abundance. Everything is going to produce, and every seed that is sown in it, each will measure and will produce 1,000, and each measure of olives will produce 10 baths of oil. This is just wonderful. And you cleanse the earth from all wrong, and from all iniquity, and from all sin, and from all impiety, and from all uncleanness which is brought about upon the earth. So this is what's going to happen as we're leading into the millennial kingdom, right? As we got the reference to the 1,000 years, and they will beget thousands, right? Because this is how we understand the apocrypha. So the apocrypha, we're gonna do more Enoch after we have a song break, but I want to go back to the parable of the tares. The reason why the apocryphal books were taken out, we only were able to have it because fragments were kept in Greek, and the Ethiopians, right, translated it into their own language, so it was hidden in 3 different Ethiopian churches that they were able to find. And they all back check, they all work, they all transliterate, and they all say the exact same story. So thankfully it was kept. So the apocryphal books, the parable of the book of Enoch, the book of the Watchers, there were many other books too, were taken away because it explains the injustice and the problems that mankind has dealt with, right? Because all you're left with is division and man's ability to try to interpret what he thinks the scriptures meant when you have only parts of it. Putting the apocrypha back in its place, understanding that the parable of the tares is completely, Christ was explaining the sons of the fallen angels and the sons of the Son of Man, right? So this is why it's so important for us to keep the parables and the apocrypha and everything together, because they back each other. If you don't know, you might see Jude talking about here in Jude 1:6, you're not really going to know when he says the angels who did not stay within their own domain but abandoned their proper dwelling, these he has kept in eternal chains. If you don't know the book of Enoch, if you haven't read the apocryphal book that we just went through the first few chapters, you're not going to understand the parable of the tares, right? So first we started off with the parable of the sower, right? The seed is the word of the truth, and the sower is the Son of Man that's been sowing the word through time. There's 3 dispensations, right? Like in the parable of the sower, the rocky ground, there's the road, the rocky ground, and then there's the good soil, right? We have the 3 types of ground, which indicate 3 types of people. And we get now the next parable, which is further expounding upon the parable of the sower. Now we find out who the sower is. It's the Son of Man, right here, the Son of Man, and the field is the earth, the realm, right? And the good seeds are the sons of the kingdom, right? And the tares are the sons of the evil one, or the fallen angels. So we're going to go to another song break, unless you have anything to comment, Jason.
No.
Yeah, we'll do a song break, and then we'll get into last section of the night. So we'll be right back.
Looking for a way to clear my mind. Traffic's going nowhere on a full moon night. Who knew this was meant to hurt? Young man would pray, just never learns. I'm in need of somebody, need of somebody. I'm in need of somebody, need of somebody.
And we are back. We are back. We are back. That was Fading by Dylan and the Dead Poets. That was another one. We're going to leave all the links for all the music in the comment section below. Jason, are you still with us?
Still with you, brother.
So we've got a really interesting section to go through here. Enoch meets the Holy Watchers. This is when Enoch went and met with these fallen angels. Right? It's very good to have it in context so we know exactly which took place and why things are taking place today. It states here, now we're in Enoch, Logan 12:1, and it says, and then Enoch disappeared, and none of the sons of men knew where he was or that he was hidden. I think the background music might be a little too loud. Sorry, I have to make sure because I don't want it to overpower what I'm trying to share here. This is very important. Okay. So it says here they didn't know where Enoch was, what had happened, right? And all his doings were with the holy ones and with the watchers in his days. It states here, and I, Enoch, was blessing the great Lord and King of eternity. And behold, the watchers called to me, Enoch, the scribe, and said unto me, Enoch, the scribe of righteousness, go and inform the watchers of heaven, who have left the high heaven and the holy eternal place, and have corrupted themselves with women, and have done as the sons of men do, and have taken wives for themselves, and have become completely corrupt upon the earth. They will have on earth neither place nor peace, nor forgiveness of sin, for they will not rejoice in their sons. The slaughter of their beloved ones they will see, and over the destruction of their sons they will lament and petition forever. But they will have neither mercy nor peace. And Enoch went to Azazel, not to Semyaza. We get Azazel again. You will not have peace. A severe sentence has come out against you, that you should be bound. You will have neither rest nor mercy, nor the granting of any petitions, because of the wrong which you have taught, and because of all the works of blasphemy and wrong and sin which you have shown unto the sons of men. And then I spoke to them all together, and they were all afraid. Fear and trembling seized them. And they asked me to write out a petition for them of a record, so that they might receive forgiveness, and to take the record of their petition up to the Lord in heaven. This is pretty incredible that these fallen angels, they, hey, Enoch, they call him up, hey, you scribe of righteousness, we got to talk to you. Come over here. So here go Enoch up to these, fallen angels. He tells them the severe sentence has been passed. You shall have no peace or mercy. And they tell him to write. So it goes on here and says, for they were not able to, from then on, to speak. And they did not raise their eyes up to heaven out of shame for their sins, for which they had been condemned. So hey, at least I see a little bit of remorse. This is a good thing, right, Jay? Remorse is always good. But what they have done is not forgivable. Okay, we're still dealing with it now. If you haven't seen The Realm. Are you there, Jay?
Yeah.
Do you have anything to comment? Or are you good? Am I going too fast?
I'm good. No, you're going good.
Okay, and then Enoch here says in 13:6, and then I wrote out the record of their petition and their supplication in regard to their spirits, and to the deeds of each one of them, and in regard to what they asked, that they should obtain absolution and forbearance. And I went and sat down by the waters of Dan, and in Dan, which is southwest of Mount Hermon. Remember, they fell on Mount Hermon, and I read out the record of their petition until he fell asleep. Isn't that funny? Whether in a dream or awake, I cannot tell you. This is many things happen when we're asleep. And behold, a dream came unto me, and visions fell upon me. And I saw a vision of wrath, that I should speak to the sons of heaven and reprove them. And I woke up and went to them, and they were all sitting gathered together as they mourned. And Ulibazel, which is in between Lebanon and Sinar, with their faces covered. So now they're all hiding, and they put on like veils. And I spoke in front of all of them the visions that I had seen in my sleep. And I began to speak these words to reprove the watchers of heaven. So now here go Enoch, reproving them. So let's read this little commentary here. It says, this is the reply to the runaways letter. So he's calling them the runaways from heaven, Robert. It's true. The judgment is outlined in 14 through 4:7, and they are bound to the earth, right? So we got that proclamation. Jason, you heard it, bound to earth. And Robert's supposition here that it could have been, or if he's just copying notes from the writer of this book, endless reincarnation, right? They were bound here. They're not allowed to leave. They're not allowed to go up to heaven. presumably that they would know exactly what that meant. And the deaths of their sons is predicted again in 14:7 Logan, that they are further criticized for the form of their petition, right? It gets pretty funny here. The section is interesting here. Enoch goes into more detail about the vision he saw, and it sounds to me as though Enoch was taken away in a vehicle, right? It's interesting. We get these chariots of fire. Enoch was able to fly, and then they dropped them back off at his front door, Robert put down, or whoever this commentary is. It says here, Enoch describes his journey in the place where he was taken, and he was obviously super impressed, right? Or, terrified. People have no idea, but you will. It says here, the wall of hailstones might be glass, and the tongues of fire could be some kind of lighting that Enoch saw. And it says the Most High speaks to Enoch, and what Yahawah actually does is he mocks them for sending Enoch to carry the petition. He's like, Yahawah mocks them, right? And then he goes on to explain the reasons for the harshness. So he wants Enoch to fully understand exactly what's going on, right? So Enoch goes there, and it continues. And the book is the word of righteousness and of reproof for the watchers who are from eternity, as the Holy and Great One commanded in that vision. And I saw in my sleep what I will now tell, with the tongue of flesh and with my breath, which the Great One hath given men in the mouth, so that they might speak with it and understand with their heart. It's key here. Enoch was saying, speak with your mouth, but you don't understand. He didn't say your brain or he said your heart, right? So as he created and appointed men to understand the word of knowledge, so he created me and appointed me to reprove the watchers and the sons of heaven. And I wrote out your petition, but in my vision thus it appeared, that your petition will not be granted for all the days of eternity, and complete judgment has been decreed against you, and you will not have peace. And from now on you will not ascend up into heaven for all of eternity, and it has been decreed that you will be bound on earth for all the days of eternity. And before this, you will have seen the destruction of your beloved sons, and you will not be able to enjoy them, but they will fall before you by sword. And your petition will not be granted in respect of them or in respect of yourselves. And while you weep and supplicate, you do not speak a single word from the writings which I have written. And the vision appeared to me as follows. Behold, clouds called me in the vision, and mist called me. And the paths of the stars and the flashes of lightning hastened me and drove me. And in the vision, winds caused me to fly and hastened me and lifted me up into the sky. And I proceeded until I came near a wall, which was made of hailstones, and a tongue of fire surrounded it. And it began to make me afraid. And I went into the tongue of fire, and it came near to a large house, which was built of hailstones. Firestones, right? Interesting language here. And the wall of that house was like a mosaic of hailstones, and its floor was snow. And its roof was like the path of the stars and flashes of lightning. And among them was a fiery cherubim, and in their sky was like water. Interesting depiction of what we're getting here. And there was a fire burning around its wall, and its door was ablaze also with fire. And I went into that house, and it was as hot as fire and as cold as snow. And there was neither pleasure nor life in it. Fear covered me, and trembling took hold of me. And as I was shaking and trembling, I fell upon my face. And I saw in the vision, and behold, another house, which was larger than the former, and all its doors were open before me. And it was built of a tongue of fire. And in everything, it so excelled in glory and splendor and size, so that I am unable to describe it to you, its glory and its actual size. And its floor was fire, and above lightning in the path of the stars, and its roof also was of burning fire. And I looked, and I saw in it a high throne, and its appearance was like ice, and its surroundings like the shining sun in the sound of cherubim. And from underneath the high throne there flowed out rivers of fire, so that it was impossible to look upon. And he who sat in great glory sat upon it, and his raiment was brighter than the sun, and whiter than any snow. And no angel could enter, and at the appearance of the face of him who is honored and praised, no creature of flesh could look upon him. And a sea of fire burnt around him, and a great fire stood in front of him. This was quite the vision that Enoch has here. And none of those around him came near to him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, but he needed no holy counsel. And the holy ones who were near to him did not leave by night nor day did they depart from him. And until then, I had a covering on my face as I trembled. And the Lord called me with his own mouth and said unto me, Come here, Enoch, to my holy word. And he lifted me up and brought me near to the door. And I looked with my face down. And he answered unto me and said to me with his own voice, Here, do not be afraid, Enoch, you righteous man and scribe of righteousness. Come here and hear my voice. And go say unto the watchers of heaven, who sent you to petition on their behalf, you ought to petition on behalf of men, not men on behalf of you. So that's where he's mocking the fallen angels. What are you dummies doing? I created you to be petitions for them, not for... He's got this Enoch guy, a man, son of Adam, descendant of Adam, up here at the throne room fighting for the fallen angels. So he's reprimanding them here. Why have you left the high, holy, and eternal heaven and lain with the women and become unclean with the daughters of men and taken wives for yourselves and done as the sons of earth and begotten giant sons? And you were spiritual, holy, living an eternal life. But you became unclean upon the women and begat children through the blood of flesh and lusted after the blood of men and produced flesh and blood as they do who die and are destroyed. And for this reason, I give men wives, so that they might sow seed in them, and so that children might be born unto them, so that deeds might be done on the earth. But you formerly were spiritual, living an eternal, immortal life for all the generations of the world. For this reason, I did not arrange wives for you, because the dwelling of the spiritual ones is in heaven. Right? This is the differentiation of Yahawah's creation. He made a server. We'll call the heaven server, and he made a room inside the server called earth. The workers in the server room were not to come into the earth room. That was the rule. They were given eternal life. These were angel beings of prominence, eminence, love. We have no understanding of how much more endowed they would have been with emotion and thought. We don't know. But they were told not to do this, and they did it. So we're in the throne room again before Yahawah. And he says, and now the giants who were born from the bodies of flesh will be called evil spirits. This is key. This is key to understanding the parable of the tares. They will be called evil tares, and on the earth will be their dwelling. So the descendants of the Nephilim spirits are the tares, and they are stuck here on earth, right? And the evil spirits came out from their flesh. Because from above they were created, from the holy watchers was their origin and first foundation. Evil spirits they will be on earth, and spirits of evil ones they will be called. So this is what terrorizes and tortures mankind through their thoughts. They try to sneak in and they try to appear as a thought coming from your own mind, but it's actually these wicked, fallen watcher children. These are the evil spirits that are here, and they hate us. They hate mankind. They wanted to kill and eat us. They after the destruction of the flood, could you even imagine how these descendants were, right? After all this went down. And the dwelling of the spirits is in heaven is heaven, but the dwelling of the spirits of earth is earth. What is born on earth is in of the earth. And it continues here in 15:11, and the spirits of the giants do wrong and corrupt, attack, fight, break on the earth, and cause sorrow. And they eat no food, do not thirst, and are not observed. So this is what we're getting here, what these descendant fallen spirit beings are doing. Again, here it says, they're spirit, they're born here on earth, they're stuck here on earth, right? They do wrong, they corrupt, they attack, they fight, they break on the earth, and they cause sorrow, but they do not eat, and they do not thirst, right? So this is the explanation of the tares. And these spirits were raised against the sons of men and against women, because they came out of them during the days of the slaughter and destruction. So here we go. We know why that women have been under attack for the last 3,000 years or 4,000 years since the flood, 4,500 years. They hate women. The disembodied spirits that are stuck here, they hate the women the most. That's, they're going to pay. All these spirits, they're going to get what's theirs. But that's what's going on here. We're going to continue. And the death of the giants, wherever the spirits have gone out from their bodies, their flesh will be destroyed before the judgment. Thus, they will be destroyed until the day of great consummation is accomplished, upon the great age, upon the watchers, and the impious ones. And now to the watchers who sent you to petition upon their behalf, who were formerly in heaven. Now Enoch's in heaven, they're on earth. right? You see how this is going? You were in heaven, but its secrets had not yet been revealed unto you. This is a key thing to look at here. So they learned some things, these watchers, these worker angels that came here. They thought they knew how to game the system. They thought they knew all the secrets. It says here, and a worthless mystery you knew. You didn't understand the mystery at all. Thus, you made known to woman the hardness of your hearts, and through this mystery, the woman and the man cause evil to increase upon the earth. Sorry, 1 second. So, what I'm pointing out here is that through this, what these fallen angels did, right? They brought down wickedness. They caused a division between man and wife, man and female, right? Father and son. They everywhere that these fallen angels go, they just cause nothing but division. So, to tie this all together, we've seen the destruction, the path. We learned about, again, we go back to the sower of the word of the seed of the creator, right? The Son of Man is the sower, and he's sown through time. We're now in the third dispensation, and as we can see, they're still doing the same things, these fallen angels. So here's the list of their names. We'll just quickly go through them. We're just going to put them on the screen. We got Abaddon. We all know Azazel, right? He's the one that took over as the leader. Beelzebub, he's the leader of the underworld, or was the leader of hell until Christ came down there and smashed open the gates. And Beelzebub said to Azazel, "What have you done? What have you done? You've brought the Son of Righteousness down here." We got Beelzebub he was the gate holder. We got Gadreel, who was the fallen angel who tricked Eve, went and disguised himself as Eve to look like a woman, right? Tricked her to, no, you're not going to die. You'll become like Yahawashai, right? And we got all these other names here. We're not going to read them all. Semyaza, who was the leader before Azazel took over. And those were the lists of the 200 of them. And I just want people to understand that Mount Hermon, this is a real place, right? Mount Hermon is a mountain cluster, right? It's the southern part of Lebanon and Syria, right? It's the border between Syria and Lebanon, not far from where these earthquakes are taking place, right? So the mount that they descended upon is the tallest one in the region. It's 9,232 feet tall. Here it is on the right. As you can see, these aren't fairy tales that I'm sharing with you. This is actual historical history that took place here. The book of Enoch was carried through the flood by Noah, passed down. Moses rewrote it, brought it back. Christ and Jude and 2 Peter and a bunch of other scriptures all point to it as well. But here's the mountain that they fell upon. It's distinctive. You can understand because it's got 3 peaks, right? So this is where they fell. It's not a fairy tale. It's a real place. And just to tie this all together, so what do you think the significance is of Mount Hermon in the scriptures? It's a pretty big one. It says here, Mount Hermon is the sacred mountain. It is the highest mountain in ancient Israel, right? Boasting majestic snowscape peaks rising just over 9,000 feet. And it also was the place of Christ's transfiguration. So Christ also went there too and did some stuff there too. We can find references to Mount Hermon in Deuteronomy 3:9, Psalm 29:6. He makes Lebanon to skip like a calf and Siron like a young wild ox. We got more references in Deuteronomy. The valley of the Mount of Hermon, and where they had created this curse, the fallen angels. Who do you guys think were the spirits behind the killing of Christ, right? It might have been the fallen angels. And first they hated Adam, right? They hated Adam. They wanted to destroy Adam. They tricked Eve, right? They tried to kill Adam over and over again. And then these fallen angels are still plaguing us today. That's why you really need to understand the apocrypha. You have to put all the different parables together if you want the full picture. So again, the transfiguration took place at Mount Hermon. We got that covered in Matthew 17, 1 through 8, Peter 1, 16 through 18. It was a very important place in the scriptures, Mount Hermon. And, I'm just thankful that we were able to go through this content tonight. Jason, did you have anything to add?
No, I appreciate that you had this study ready for us. I do.
Yeah.
It's interesting stuff. The whole Watchers, the Nephilim, the Giants. This is it's usually the playground for the Freemason fake Christians. They they generally love to glorify them and show fake bones and a bunch of stuff like that. But to actually go through and see what the actual scriptures have to say about them, and that's important. It's part of the judgment of this world. You know, here they were, they left heaven, made that oath, came down, you know, swore to conspire against the Creator, and so we're reaping the benefits still of their bad decision. But then the scriptures talk about how it's all going to be brought to justice as well. So we're looking forward to that.
That's right. That's right. We want the angels to come and gather up the tares. It's time, right? Here, we'll give them a little bit. All y'all fallen watchers and all y'all demons, come here. Listen, this is, get used to the sound. Just want to make sure they hear it nice and clear. You hear that? All ye that work unrighteousness, this is what awaits. It's not a joke. It's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
It's real.
Hot. And to be in something like that for eternity. So they don't have the physical bodies anymore. So there's the ability for the body to die is gone, yet the spirit still exists. And we get from the scriptures that it continues to be able to feel the sensations. They just can't die.
Yeah. You bring it to that, what was that show called? Altered Carbon. The torture room with an infinite loop.
Torture.
Right? Where you feel everything and you ain't getting out. Yeah. So again, let's just go through this recap. We got the parable of the sower, right? The sower is the son of man. And the three dispensations are the three types of grounds, the three people, the types of grounds. You get the good soil is the elect, the ones with the Holy Spirit. The reminder, Christ said that the Holy Spirit will remind you of everything. And this is what the Holy Spirit is. It inspires all scriptures that are inspired comes from the Holy Spirit. So we got the parable of the sower, right? Then we understood that the parable of the sower is the son of man. The field is the world, and the good seed are the sons of the kingdom, right? And the bad seeds are the sons of the wicked ones. We got in Jude 1:6, it says, "And the angels who did not stay within their own domain, but abandoned their proper dwelling, these he hath kept in eternal chains under darkness, and bound for judgment." And we learned about that from Enoch. Enoch went into great depth, showing us exactly what took place. They petitioned Enoch after they did their dirties, and they ruined mankind. The Creator had to destroy everything because of what they did, right? And they were judged, and they're still going to be judged soon enough. And so we learned that the fallen angels, the descendants, were the Nephilim, and that they were bound here on earth with us. They don't eat, they don't thirst, but they torment mankind. This is why we have the problems that we do. They're the mighty men of renown, the Klaus Schwabs, the Bill Gates, the Elon Musks. These are your mighty men of renown. These are the descendants of the Watchers. They are the tares. So be prepared. Semyaza and his whole team, you're all about to see a big flip taking place, right? Mount Hermon, all this stuff is very important that we discuss so that you understand exactly what's going to take place. We all know that the reason why we have so much problems in the world right now is because these descendants of these Watchers fell here, and they constantly are causing havoc. So it's not because he's a bad creator. It's not that at all. It's that other parts of the creation rebelled against him, right? And they hate us, and they hate mankind, and they hate the kingdom, and they swore oaths to try to destroy it. But we see here in Enoch, the Father brought him up to the throne room and explained to him that I'm going to flip it. I'm going to make them kill each other, right? They're going to just destroy each other up. And your descendants are going to have thousands and thousands of children. And you're going to reap abundance. And it's going to be the kingdom of righteousness. So we have that to look forward to. So that's the podcast. We'll continue to go in. We've still got more parables. We got the parable of the talents. We've got the parable. There's a parable involving some pearls. So much more still yet to uncover with the parabolic language, as well as understanding that you and I and everyone else that's alive right now are also parables, right? Just So we all have parabolic meanings. So again, thank you everyone for tuning in. I enjoyed tonight. Jason, do you have any last words?
No, I enjoyed it as well. I just want to let people know that my plan is to try to have the video that I'm working on done by this Friday. And the goal would be to release it and do a hangout that goes into covering it in depth. If it's not ready this Friday, then the plan would be for it to be this Sunday, because the goal is to have it out before the equinox, because a lot of the video has to do with the equinox and with the keeping of the true Hebrew calendar. So this whole 322 everybody's saying is Nisan 1. It's not. And this video goes into more detail, not just about that, but the way we read the constellations, the ecliptic, the way the calendar of Earth works, the way the luminaries work as a clock, a calendar, even a compass as well. So hopefully this Friday, I'm working on it.
You got this. And like you mentioned before, we'll do a live stream premiere all together. We'll live stream the premiere, and we're going to go into depth, and we're going to break it down. It might take multiple hangouts to meticulously and slowly and patiently go through what Jason's working on. He's going to have a scale and a ruler that's going to put everything into context. It's going to show everybody exactly how the sky works, how the calendars work, how the calendars are wrong, how to actually keep them right. Everything is laid out. We've got it all timelined. You're doing a great job, brother, and I can't wait. You've got this. So you're dropping it that you put a timeline on it for next Friday. So it'll be here on the Awake Souls channel. Like you said, we'll do the premiere and we'll live stream the premiere at the same time and then go breaking it down into different sections. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun, guys. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All glory to Yahawashai and YHWH. We're just reading these books. And Robert, thank you, Robert Ferrell, too, for all your hard work over 20 years. He's been dedicating his life. He's still working on stuff now. He's breaking into more understandings and other types of books and scriptures that we're going to be getting into, the Agrapha, right? So that's the collection of other teachings that Christ said that didn't make it into any of these books. It's the Agrapha. We're going to be getting into that, too. Don't worry. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in. I really enjoyed tonight. Jason, I'll give you the last words.
The only place you're going to hear any of this is on the Awake Souls channel. Good night, everyone.
I didn't mean to say this, but yes, this last song, don't go away. This last one is a brand new one from Kalax, and it's called Alive. Stay tuned. Now you can say the last word. Where did everybody hear this again?
On the Awake Souls channel.
I want you to know I won't let you go. We will fly and not fall. I'll give you my all. With everything I do, I will breathe and love you. I will strive and not fall. I'll give you my all. 'Cause wherever you go, know that I'll be beside you. I'll give you my all. With everything I do is you and me forever. You are making me better. You make me feel alive, alive. You make me feel alive. Oh, alive, alive. You make me feel alive.